Hello, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Production House Podcast, where I will be chatting with the hidden heroes of dance music culture and the people that are the glue of operations behind the scenes. My name's Stretch, so if you're sitting comfortably, then let me begin. Hello and welcome once again to the Production House Podcast. This one is podcast number 8. It should have been lower down the list. This is April the 4th, 2023, and I am with Rutger Geerling, dance music photographer. Exactly. Canon cameras, MVP. What an honour and a privilege it is to have you with me today, sir, and thank you for giving up your time.
My pleasure.
Obviously wanted to do this on Valentine's Day.
I know. There's a lot of love between us.
There is a lot of love. But listen, what is your job description?
I would say I basically take photos at festivals, for festivals mostly, but I do work with artists as well. So I get in there first person, I leave the last, and then in between I take photos of the artist, of the people, the crowd, the feeling, the vibe, small details, and the big fireworks photos, the confetti moments. So basically I tell the story of what happened that day. So if you weren't there, you got to be really bummed out you weren't there. And if you were there, it should give you the feeling of, hey, that's exactly how the day was, and it's nice to look back at it. That's kind of my thing. And then working for artists as well, so sometimes I tour with them, like Timmy Trumpet or Hardwell, Armin, and I just join them and take photos during the set and before and after. Sometimes it's a private jet, sometimes it's a bus or a taxi, and shitty airports, stuff like that, and just make that look very nice and appealing to everybody.
Well, you kind of nail it, my brother. So tell me where and how it all started, because we go way back.
Yeah, we do.
Coincidentally.
Yeah, I think we go like very way back.
Yeah, we sort of crossed over, because you was asked to photograph for the Red Bull Extreme Sports event for the first time in London, and we did the production on that. But at that same time, I was asked to come to Holland to do Dance Valley 98.
Yeah, 98.
And so we sort of crossed paths.
But we crossed paths later on Dance Valley for sure. How did it all start? This is a hobby that got totally out of hand. I actually have a master's in public administration, so I would have been a public servant if it weren't for my love of photography. Basically...
Say that again. Public servant.
Yeah. I think it took a... I'm glad I basically I was in love with photography.
Well, you still are, really.
Yeah, very public. No, I basically was in love with photography during my studies. It was always in my head that there was this fascination with photography from a young age. My mother was quite artistic. She drew well. She could photograph very well. So that fascination was there. I picked up a camera and I started taking photos. This was still when I was studying. And then I was on an exchange program in Budapest, in Hungary.
How old was you then? 15, 16?
No. This was way later. So I'm 21-ish.
Okay.
So I got to Budapest for 3-4 months doing exchange program, studying there. And I brought my first camera with me there. And I started just taking photos. This is right after the Iron Curtain fell. No, it was way earlier. So it's 93. So yeah, 22. I was there. And the love for photography was there. It was just no disguise.
What was your first camera? What was that camera?
It was a Canon. First camera was a Canon. The last one is that still.
MVP, yeah.
And so that love grew, and I started to take photos for the university magazine, stuff like that, and just black and white, printing it myself in my bathroom, hanging the photos. They don't, by the way, if you ever see people hanging them on a line in a movie, that's wrong. You use the tiles because they dry up perfectly straight. So, but I used to do my own printing, and I started doing skateboard photos because I was skateboarding. I started snowboarding photos because I love snowboarding. And then I finished my studies and I just absolutely hated it. And then I told myself, you know what? I'm going to give myself 1 year to see if I can make a living out of photography. And my parents absolutely hated that because they wanted me to be a public servant and just get a nice managerial job and just be famous and rich and important and whatever. And I just had to do it. I said to myself, if I don't try this, then I'm going to regret it the rest of my life. And if I fail, that's fine with me. Then I've tried it, no regrets, get on with whatever job I want to do. So a friend of mine had a snowboarding magazine, and I could work for him. But he said, you also got to work for my music magazine. So this is the Gabber days, hardcore dance music. And I was not into Gabber music. I was always into electronic music. But, whatever. So I got in there in that scene, the music scene, with my white skateboarding, snowboarding clothes, and just starting taking photos. And
skinheads.
That came a little bit later. But you got to imagine, so this is 95, 96. Gabber music is the biggest youth movement the Dutch has ever had. I think about...
Well, 93 it sort of exploded in Holland,
95,
right?
96 it peaked. I think about 600,000 youth in Holland identified as Gabber music lovers. And I was thrown in there and apparently had a knack for it. I knew I had a knack for photography, but I did something right. So then I started working for ID&T, and then things really got out of hand. So after that 1 year, I obviously, continued it. I did snowboard photos in the winter, festivals and Gabber photos, parties, clubs in the summer and all through the winter as well. Got picked up by ID&T, which was exploding on the scene, Sensation, all the big Mysteryland parties. And I built my name. And then 2008, I started working for Q-Dance. I got a little bit more artistic. I started working for Bacardi and Marlboro. They did a lot of concerts. And I kind of evolved. And then basically 2012, I was picked up by Ultra Music Festival in Miami. And from there on, it just kind of exploded, which was great because in 2012, my music photography just took off. And by the same time, the magazines, the snowboard magazines I used to work for, they just kind of declined because of social media and internet. And so it was for me perfect. And now I just kind of exclusively do music photography.
Yeah.
So that's basically my life story in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
No, right.
Not too bad.
Yeah, you need a drink after that.
It flashed like that as well, didn't it? It's flashed like that as well. So, I'm just going to kind of freestyle with you. So,
right, sure.
So you're literally just back from Ultra.
Yeah. My 10th time.
Yeah. So you've moved with the time. So where was the location again? Were they back in?
It's always in Miami. It's always downtown Miami. It's been different for one time, and it was a disaster, logistically and just vibe, because you're downtown Miami. So it's spring break. So most people are like a small t-shirt. Most women wear just bikinis and tops. And so there's a really cool, America, they're over the top. They can't do anything normal. You go for it or you don't. So it's a very crazy vibe there. Spring break, the temperature's great, 25, 30 degrees. It's downtown Miami, skyscrapers all around you. It's a very small site, actually, but it holds 55,000 people. It's very smart how they use the site. So I just love the atmosphere. And it's springtime. All the DJs have their new music. They want to play. They want to try the new music. And everybody's super hyped up. Miami Music Week is the same time. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And it centers around that downtown area, which is really, really small. And it's just this brewing cauldron of vibes and craziness. I don't know. I always love it. And this year particularly was really, really good because I think, we're well out of COVID, for a year now, and everybody's kind of settling back and everybody's kind of found his new way of working. So there's a lot of just new vibes there, I think. And I could feel it from
generally. I think generally.
Yeah,
anyway.
You're right. But you still feel, because Miami is the start of the season and everybody has their new music. Everybody wants to experiment. Everybody's just, their sets are a little bit rough. People, haven't done their sets really. They're still trying to do new stuff and it can work really, really well. And sometimes it works less for some artists. But it's fun to have that experience. So yeah, for me, it was definitely one of the better ultras I've had.
Yeah, you mentioned that coming in.
Yeah.
So your first time there.
Oh my God!
I was going to say, but obviously you've been, you've been an integral part of their imagery and their story. To be fair, so the improvements that you've seen with Ultra, over the years must be quite astounding.
Yeah, they do. Because I started working for them in 2012, so I think it was only the second year on that site, or maybe the third. And how well everything works nowadays logistically. and how everybody's kind of used. Because when I started in 2012, you know, dance music was just exploding on the scene in the US. So it was very new. 2013 and 14 was, most people say those were the golden 2 editions for Ultra. I think that's kind of right because it was so new. And it felt like this again this year. But it's very smart how they use it, the site, and in general, the vibe was so good among the crowd and the DJs. Everybody was just having a good time, and I kind of like that. You know, there was no drama or anything.
Do you capture that as well? Or do you leave those private moments?
Because you feel it.
Yeah.
You know, when you go to parties a lot of the time, you remember Tomorrowland, for instance. They had these 2-3 years when everybody just went nuts. I think 14, 15. I know, with the crowd, which is the whole valley just exploded with Gedda and stuff like that. And you can't capture that on photo. You can do that on video, I think. But photo's really hard. So I don't think my photos are that distinct. But you do feel it, you know, and it's kind of nice. And for me, as a person, as a photographer, I kind of thrive on what the atmosphere is. So if the atmosphere is not that good, I'm usually not having a good time as well. And if the atmosphere is really good, even though it's not a great party, I really, really have a good time. I really need that energy from the crowd. And I think it might be the same for you. You're kind of sensitive to that, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but I can get a little bit of a head start on you because I can literally dictate.
For sure, yeah.
You know, sure. I can sort of influence that.
Yeah, but sometimes you just have a shitty crowd. Sometimes it happens, you know, and that
can happen. Yeah, it can happen. It can happen. But so did you ever have? Well, I know you've had bits and pieces stolen over the years, but
I've been quite lucky, to be honest.
Yeah, you've had 1 or 2 pieces, right?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe I just left them somewhere and didn't pay attention enough.
Right.
But I've been quite lucky, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. But some of your colleagues,
definitely.
You know, you didn't you help develop?
Yeah.
That
security. A couple of years ago was really particularly bad. You know, we have these gangs roaming around for phones, but they started to target us photographers. I remember one edition Tomorrowland that was really bad a couple of years ago, and they were really targeting us. So the one person would just
there was actually they found that squad. There was a particular squad of people. Yeah,
and a lot of lenses were stolen. So I helped because these cameras are kind of made to switch lenses. You know, take them off and on really quickly and easily, and that was to our disadvantage. So I with a friend who worked for Tiesto, he has a 3D printer. And we developed a ring that made it much more difficult to take the lens off by accident. So yeah, a lot of people started using that. I made it available for free, so everybody could print it. But nowadays, everybody's so aware that I think the issue's gone less. But I think that year on several parties, I know guys. I think I know 7 or 8 instances in just the summer, in 2 months' time, and people got like expensive equipment stolen. Yeah, it was really bad. I think we're more aware, we're more careful, and I think the security on festivals keep a better eye on us. I know especially like the big festivals like Tomorrowland and Ultra, their security is way more focused on us. They keep much better because they can track you everywhere, and they keep an eye on us, fortunately.
It's about time you got your own.
Very good.
It's about time you got your own security, son.
Yeah, a big bodyguard.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to take your photo. Get him off.
But yeah, so you know, traveling the world, you have obviously designed special kit that you've sort of, I guess, perfected.
Yeah.
Over the years. Would that be right in saying? So
I use a checklist nowadays.
Okay. But yeah, that's so. What's your number one go-to that you can't? There's no way you can even leave the house without.
Obviously the camera, but the stuff that you forget. I got about 20 pairs of swimming trunks at home. I've got about 50 electricity adapters for the whole world, all for like 5 times double.
Yeah.
But I do have a checklist nowadays. The amount of sunglasses I've had to buy all over the place. Yeah. The amount of
neck cushions.
Yeah. And the amount of sweaters that are left in hotel rooms got to be in the dozens. No, I do use a checklist. Otherwise I forget. But battery charges, stuff like that, or a cable, stupid stuff like that. You forget. That is really bad because you don't have a charger. And you don't have colleagues that have that specific charger. Yeah, you're kind of screwed. So, I mean, usually the camera equipment is good, but then you forget the memory card, for instance, stuff like that. So I really, really, really check.
It's quite ironic forgetting a memory card.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's happened. In the earlier cameras, like when I started doing digital, you could take photos without having a memory card in there. And since I'm kind of old school, I don't look at my screen that much because I'm used to slide film and stuff like that. So I just take like photos for like 15 minutes, and then realizing there's no memory card in there. Nowadays, the setting for any camera is you can't take a photo without a memory card in there.
Gotcha.
But it used to be different because they got a little bit too many complaints from photographers, I guess. So yeah, that happened. That was kind of back in the days when was not as good.
So what was I know for sure. I know for sure you had a few nightmarish incidents, but like, can you sort of name one really nightmarish incident where you thought I'm fucked, but then?
I left my camera back in a pizzeria for once.
Jesus.
And then, because we were so busy, and the thing is, my head goes all over the place. I'm too sensitive to other information. So once I engage with something out of my normal boundaries, I really get fully engaged and forget about everything else. So we were talking, and then I've just accidentally forgot my camera back, and I realized within 5 minutes. So we rushed back to the place, and fortunately, one of the people serving noticed that the guys next to us on the table, they were like, excited because they found that camera back and they just wanted to grab it away. And he noticed it and he just stopped these people. So yeah. So nowadays, before I leave,
where was your heart positioned?
Jesus Christ, it was just 3 feet deep.
Yeah,
it was but I know I'm that person. I really get engaged with stuff. And I kind of tend to forget everything else. So I really, before I leave anything nowadays, I always look, and I still forget stuff. Sweaters all over the place. So many planes, so many lost in airplanes. And but the camera back. I got to be careful. I'm just too distracted.
Yeah.
I guess that's just who I am. But that kind of helps me when I'm working because I always look at what's happening around me. I'm very sensitive. So I'm, when, for instance, if we would be talking on site at a festival, I'll be looking over your shoulder like the whole time. It's super annoying. I can't look at you straight. I'm just always looking at other stuff that's happening, which is great, but then some points it's not that great. But that kind of is my strength when I'm taking photos. Because I'm so hyper aware.
I was going to say, you have tunnel vision, didn't you?
It sucks for my kids though, because I see everything.
Well, I was just going to get to that. I mean, you must be one of the most toured photographers on the planet. How have you balanced that over the years with the family?
It's sometimes rough. Actually, the funny thing is...
How old are your two now?
They're 12 and 13.
Yeah.
12 and 14, sorry. I just keep losing track. Can we cut that? In case they want. Actually, I thought it'd be easier. It's actually getting a little bit harder nowadays. Even though they're like teenagers, but they kind of need you more, I guess, in this period of life, even though they're just trying to get away from you. But
the conversations become much more adult.
Yeah. What I've always done is I haven't worked during the week. So I could have done I used to do a lot of corporate work. So work for companies, they have the opening this, presentation of this, very well paying work, but not the stuff where my heart is at. Plus I wanted to say the weekends are work weekends, and during the week I'm home. I'm a family man. So obviously when you're traveling abroad, especially the US or with time difference involved, it's a little bit rougher because you leave on Thursday, come back home on Tuesday. I always do my travel very short, so I go in and out, and then maybe 2-3 times a year I add 2 extra days just for my head. Otherwise, it's just too hectic. So basically, during the week, I'm a family man. I cook, I get them to school, I make their sandwiches, I do the house cleaning, I do the washes, the laundry.
Are you for hire?
So that kind of works really well.
Ladies.
Yeah. Sorry, taken. So that works really well. Because that gives a bit of stability. My wife's very busy as well, but obviously she doesn't work in the weekends. She's not supposed to work in the weekends, I should say. She's very busy, workaholic.
They never stop, to be fair, do they, the women?
No. So it's kind of, we have a kind of a balance. I find the first couple years I didn't travel as much, but as soon as they were in school, I travel a little bit more, and nowadays it's kind of hectic as well, I find. But I'm trying to balance it by just skipping the jobs that don't pay really well or just aren't as meaningful for me. We manage, but when I'm home, I'm home. That is kind of my thing. I really try to be there when I'm there, when they come home from school.
Yeah,
that is, and it's nice. It's good. I see my kids maybe more than most fathers would see who have a 9-to-5 job or are workaholic, and I want to keep it that way.
Yeah, good. Do they help you make the cheesecake?
They love cheesecake. They love eating it.
They love eating it.
That's how much they help. Yeah.
Do they help in the kitchen?
What's that?
Do they help in the kitchen?
Yeah,
yet?
Sometimes. Yeah. I usually find that's a little bit quicker if I do it myself.
It's
but they love it. Especially Luke, my son.
Yeah.
He's very interested in cooking, so it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Shout out to Luke. That's good. Keep with it, Luke. Keep with it. The idea of you then touring.
Yeah.
Because we're up there in the we're up there near the gods now in the theatre of life. Have you got kind of like a not so much a goal, but do you have a target that you want to kind of set yourself? While you still while you still can.
Yeah, especially COVID. I think for everybody it was kind of a good reset moment. I've always been very happy with what I did, but COVID, I just took the time off and just wanted to spend time with the family, not work. I had the luxury of not having to work. I had a little bit of funds and side income.
And we had Saturday night.
And we had Saturday night. Yeah, oh my God, that saved me though.
Yeah. Saved all of us, mate. Saved all of us.
Yeah, thank you, Wilco.
Yeah, big up Wilco.
But it did make me realize I am very happy at what I do. I want to continue doing it. I still get a lot of energy, but I do feel creatively I want to change a little bit. So I kind of want to get out of the summer grinding of 15 hours days of doing festival. So I'm trying to see if I can do a little bit work more with artists and do both, do some festivals and then work for artists. I love doing like short tours, like a week, 10 days max. And just because touring with an artist has a very special vibe, has a very
personal. It's personal, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like a small family.
Yeah,
family away from home. So you get very tight, and plus creatively, it gives me a lot of new stuff to explore. And I wouldn't say I work on automatic, but I've done so many festivals. I think I've done 30 Tomorrowland weekends in my life, all over the world. So it's very difficult for me
Is it that many we've done?
Yeah, all the double weekenders, and then Brazil, and then the US.
Okay, it's not bad.
I think it's going to be 25, 30 weekends, something like that.
Okay.
And then the winter editions. So for me, it's very difficult for me to stay creative there. So maybe I should just do something else and then go back and just have a little bit more variety. I think it's good for me. It's good for my client. But then on like Ultra Sunday, I was like in the zone. I was just doing the craziest stuff because then I worked really hard Friday and Saturday, worked really well. And then Sunday was a little bit more relaxed, which usually is the case on Ultra. And just suddenly in the evening, I just snapped, I get in that creative mode and I love that. I should get in that mode a little bit more often, I think.
Are the images out?
Yeah, I think I'm going to upload them soon. I haven't uploaded.
How does that work? How does that work for you? With
depends on the festival. So, like Tomorrowland used to be very strict, so we couldn't use anything they had used up for a year. Nowadays, they're a little bit more relaxed, so we can basically upload whatever we want.
But you have to shoot, get it delivered to the press.
Yeah. No, I usually deliver to the festival. With some exception, I can also deliver to press as well. And then I can use the photos myself, and I send out to artists.
But that's what I mean. You would shoot, I don't know, 1,200 shots at the main stage, for instance. Yeah. That then has to be delivered almost immediately, right? Yeah.
The tension and the time is the clock is ticking always, so we got to be very quick. Especially, for instance, we have an artist that has a big live stream. Importance for the festival. So we've had instances that I photographed David Guetta in the first 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, it was up online. So then I have my laptop in the behind the booth or in the backstage area, so I could do it really, really quickly. Sometimes it's the pressure, but usually what we do during a whole day, we take 4 or 5 moments to sit down, go through your photos, and send us a selection of 10, 20 photos to the festival, so they have something to post on Instagram and whatever they want to use. And it's also good because you can sit down for a little bit. You can
have a coffee.
Yeah, and also for your brain, because you've seen what you've done. You know what you're missing and what you still want to shoot. And it resets yourself a little bit. And that's important for me. So those little breaks are very valuable. First, because you cool down a little bit. And also it makes the workload a little bit more accessible for the days after, because you've sorted, you made a little bit of pre-sort of the photos, you've seen the images, you've set them on your computer. So once you're done at the end of the day, maybe the next morning, I can do the rest. So I'm usually very quick. I don't edit much. I'm old school. I like to get my photos right the first time.
That's one for the kids. That's one for the kids.
Yeah, although there's other photographers, colleagues of mine, that do the opposite. So they shoot a little bit less, and they can spend half an hour editing a photo. I usually spend like 20 seconds, maybe 30 tops. It's just a different way of working, and it's a different way of using creativity. For me personally, my photo is kind of secret. It is what it is, and it doesn't have to be perfect, as long as the feeling of that photo, when I want to capture that moment, that should be right. And I don't care if there's a hand out of place, if there's a little bit something is wrong aesthetically with the photo, as long as the photo has this. It shows you what it is. And people don't look at that photo that long anyway. But I have colleagues who do the opposite. They're very minute, and they might, touch up the smallest details. And it's cool having that. I think it's good to have them both. It's just a different way of approaching photography.
Well, speaking of which, your exhibition.
Yeah,
of course.
That was
it was like a stop, start.
Oh
start. Woo!
It was a nightmare to get it started, because we
Well, it couldn't, could it? Technically, I think it was open a day, and then then everything.
No. We were open for 3 weeks, and it was in downtown Amsterdam. So it was at the Beurs van Berlage.
Is it the first one?
Oh, you won the first one?
Yeah.
That was a nightmare. Yeah, I was open for a day, and then COVID.
That was
my God, that was the worst nightmare. So we've basically been open for 11 months, and I think 6 months out of those were closed, and the other 5 months were highly restricted. So that wasn't the biggest success, which was a shame, because it was beautiful.
Where was it?
It was in Maastricht.
Maastricht,
Fotomuseum aan het Vrijthof.
That's it.
And
gorgeous place, beautiful setting.
I just wanted to do it there.
Yeah.
Everybody asked me, why Maastricht? Which it's a little bit out of the way for most, especially the Randstad.
Well, I got a private tour, so I was.
Yeah, that's great. But any DJ, rather flies to Australia than drive 2 hours to Maastricht. That's kind of the annoying bit. But the museum is so beautiful, and the owner is just such an amazing person. He has so much energy. So it was so great, and we had this beautiful opening planned in one of the biggest churches in Maastricht. It was the first time ever they allowed a non-religious event there. Hold on, let me just... Everybody has a cold lately. So it's a beautiful opening, and then it got more restricted and more restricted. And then we had this crazy restriction, but we kept pushing. And then I remember Nicky Romero calling me, because he was going to open it together with some other people. And he called me and said, "Is this what you still want?" But I was like that lobster in the pan, not going out, or the frog. Actually, frogs do jump out of hot water, but that's not. But figuratively, I was that person, and we just went further and further. And then he asked me that, and I was just like, wow, that was like the eye opener. No, we don't want.
You wanted everybody there, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then I called the director. Said, we shouldn't do this. This is just not how we want to do it. We will do something. We'll do a party at the end, and then so he kind of saved me. So we did a very small private opening with just a couple of friends. We went there, and we kind of, because actually the next day it's going to be closed again. So it was the last opportunity. And but the whole thing was just gigantic, and nobody went to museums because of the whole COVID thing. So it was in visits, it was a disaster. In the reception of it was amazing. I mean, people were like raving about it. So,
and of course, you had the book.
And the book, yep.
The book was amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing presentation.
So much for me.
They cover with
Hardwell.
This is
I
my
took
church.
a similar photo on Ultra, and then
I was going to say, but you tried that shot. I mean, you must have tried that shot 100,000 times, right?
That photo was taken with a compact camera,
right?
Like a Canon compact camera. I had on loan just to try it. So, but I took a similar photo on of Hardwell, this Ultra, because it was Hardwell on the cover. And then I also have this little whole system where all the artists can access my photos afterwards. And he went through the photos, and then he sent me a text, dude, I just need to have that photo. We're in love with it. My parents are in love with it, and I need this for myself as a screensaver. So that was kind of a really, really cool compliment. But we're losing track here. So after the whole disaster in Maastricht, it was not a disaster. Artistically, it was not a disaster. Commercially it was. Yeah,
Mate. Yeah.
Good thinking.
That was the one, yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Hardwell being Jesus. My God, he's back on track though. Again, sidetracked. So we wanted a revenge. So with a couple of friends who all...
I'm not in there, by the way. And I was very, very, very disturbed about that.
Yeah, sorry about that. Had to make decisions. It wasn't just good enough. 230 photos.
But anyway, so Maastricht.
Yeah, so Maastricht was artistically amazing, commercially not a success. So we kind of got together with a couple of friends, all from ID&T that I work with, they're called Team, and we help each other out. And we need a revenge. So we figured we had an idea of doing a digital exhibition using screens. And so we called up Samsung and said, hey, we got this amazing idea. Nobody's done this before on this scale. Let's have a setting. We found a nice place. We found the Beurs van Berlage, which is an amazing historic building from the late 1800s.
That's the Roking, right?
Yeah. The Damrak.
Damrak, sorry.
That goes into the Rokin.
Yeah.
It's just borderline Rokin. Yeah. And so we kind of made a little festival in their basement, like with the black curtains, using the trusses and stuff like that. And it was so amazing. But we were still too soon after the whole corona, because still people don't like to go into musea. It was the most beautiful weather, and it was during the kids' holidays. So nobody went inside. Everybody just stayed outside. And it's very hard explaining what it was, because a digital exhibition. So basically we used screens to put photos on. And the thing is, they're much more intense. And then we had this crazy stuff with the music, and you're just going around from festival area to festival area. So it looked fantastic. But I think we were just a little bit too soon with the whole concept. So, that was, again, artistically, the reviews we got were absolutely raving. But again, commercially, it was very hard to get the people inside.
Was that to celebrate 25 or 30 years?
30 years already.
30 years already.
Is it? Yeah. Yeah, it goes fast, man.
So can you remember who your first DJ was?
I think it was Akira, DJ Akira, like a hardcore DJ. That must have been, I'm pretty sure it was him. I didn't know what I was doing. I'd never taken a DJ photo, artist photo in my life. I kind of figured it out later onwards.
So what was the first big venue then?
The first first big show I remember.
Had you been raving? Because you were studying, right?
Yeah, I did.
You did university.
I never was a big party goer. I never was a nightlife person. I was still studying. Yeah. No, I kind of finished it. I finished my thesis in March or April.
But you knew what a rave was by this time.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of raves before. I thought I liked them, but it just the whole thing going to 5 a.m. in the morning is not really my kind of stuff. Nowadays, I'm actually more fine with going like really late than I used to be.
But you've never been into drugs anyway, have you?
No. I've tried everything, but I've never been.
Wasn't for you.
Well, I like it, but it's just, especially when I'm working. I don't drink. I don't use anything. I've gone off drinking mostly though nowadays.
Well, I've offered you a beer for 15 years. I think we've had one together.
Yeah, I don't drink.
One glass of champagne.
Yeah, champagne you will. That's usually works better than beer though.
And then only at the end of the night. You'll only have it at the end of the night.
Usually my thing is like last DJ. Except for Armin only, because he plays for 7 hours, so it doesn't work. So I don't drink till the last DJ. Where were we? I'm completely lost.
We were back in Amsterdam, and you thought you'd done it too early.
Yeah, I think,
I'd ask you. So, who was your first party?
Yeah, my first big rave. I think it was Mayday. I was like blown away. Like,
where was in
Mayday in Dortmund?
In Dortmund, okay.
Mayday. You know that song, man.
Yeah, it's
most famous. Yeah, I know him. We'll get there.
No, we won't.
Yeah,
Westbam.
Yeah, thank you.
Westbam. I thought my memory completely gone.
I did not know what I was looking at. I was blown away. So this was May '96. So it only been. I started in December '95. So I've been only doing it for a few months. And then my first big other rave was, I think, Thunderdome. And that's the first time I took like big overview photos. I don't think anybody had done that. So, but it's still slide film, you know?
That was featured in the...
Yeah, I think that was in the book.
That's the one in the... Is it in the book?
No, it's not in the book. No,
it was in... What was the... Wasn't there a Thunderdome in the exhibition?
Yeah, there's been plenty of Thunderdome photos because I've worked for them for so long. Because I worked with ID&T, so I was still kind of mostly in the hardcore scenes the first couple of years.
So the choice of the ones that you put up in the exhibition are all featured in.
Not all of them. No, we did a lot of new stuff.
Right.
So we did the most important stuff from the book. But the thing is, after the book came out in 2017. So I've 16, I think. So I've seen the book too much.
Is that already?
You sold 7,000 copies, though.
Oh,
it's crazy. For a photo book, that's unreal.
Hopefully we can sell a few more.
5 now. So we want to do a lot of new stuff. Because these photos, I've been working with these photos for 6-7 years now, and I'm
as a creative,
and also we wanted to offer something new to the people, you know. Yeah. So just giving them an excuse to go there. So we used, I think 50% of the material was new, was not in the book, something like that, and it worked out really, really well. It was so beautiful. It's a shame that it was really hard to explain to people what it was. I think if people understood what it was, it'd be just. People would just line up for it. It's just.
Will you do it again? You think you're going to try maybe again?
Yeah, we're working on some new projects. I can't say too much about it. But we're working on something for October.
You can tell us.
No, we definitely want to do the because Samsung was really happy. They were the main sponsor, and they were very happy. So we want to do at least a pop-up store during ADE this year. Right. And I think we'll be able to pull that off. It's so
cool. Selling your prints. I mean, in our entrance here. You see, you've seen them, I guess, a few over the years, people transforming walls into your photos. How does that feel? I mean, as a creative, that's like the ultimate, amazing. Isn't it?
Yeah, the problem is that technically I have to be a little bit careful with selling photos because I work for a client who basically owns the rights, unless I have different deals with. So what I usually do, I don't charge much for it. I just charge, because when people ask me, I'd love to have a print, I go through the photo again, I check it differently, and just ask them for the time. So I just charge them $30-40 because I do spend half an hour just editing the photo, but I don't.
Do you frame it as well?
No, I give them the high-res image and let them do it themselves because I'm just not into that. I know I can make a lot of money of it.
That's not your thing, though.
No. Very simple.
But if you pass on and I buy your rights, I can make postcards out of your.
Depends on the festival.
Okay.
Yeah. So, or if, only for very generic images, but and basically, no, I can't do that.
No, yeah. So, yeah, but within sort of, how can I explain? So, if you're hired, we use Tomorrowland as an example. You come in for Tomorrowland, you gave all your photos off to them. There's some that they haven't used. Yeah. You can use those in your archives.
Nowadays, So I put them online on my website, or I use them on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. But basically they're a little bit more relaxed nowadays. But some festivals ask for a year, so within that first year, I can only use the photos they've used. Yeah. So that's kind of frustrating sometimes. But I in general, I see that most festivals are getting a little bit more relaxed with that. Plus, I do have quite a following on my own socials. So for them, it's usually not bad if I post something because it's also, he was one of the first advertising.
He was one of the first with a blue tick, weren't you, on Instagram?
I was very, very early. Yeah.
He was nice. Telling me about that hustle about 6-7 years ago.
I think Facebook I got really early when I still had 10,000 followers. But Facebook's not that important anymore. But I still
hear that, Zuckerberg. Sorry.
Yeah. And Instagram is still my favorite thing to post. I think they're slowly going back to more photo oriented nowadays. Fortunately,
that makes you very happy, doesn't it?
Very happy, and a lot of people, I think. And yeah, TikTok's mixed bag. I don't really like it. I don't like the app that much, but it does help me a little bit. So I do it, because my kids can brag. But other than that, it's just we talked about this before. I'm a little bit tired of social media. It's important for me, and I love it. And I kind of like, the only thing I really like is Instagram stories. It's like 15, 20 seconds.
You're very good with that, actually. You got right on, the whole India. Yeah. I'm going to ask you about all of that. But yeah, so TikTok's not really a thing anymore. But the Instagram...
It is huge, though. I mean, but I just don't like it that much. I don't like the app either. When you open the app, it just shoves things down your throat. And I don't want to see, you got to go to your own timeline. I just don't like it that much.
Yeah.
But it's
kind of a necessary evil within what you do, really. Yeah. But your brand, I mean, everybody knows you. Do you get mobbed nowadays when people see you?
That's some crazy stuff. Yeah. Especially India and Turkey were like crazy.
But India's a different love, isn't it? I mean, it's a genuine love there, isn't it?
And it's kind of funny because if you have these websites where you can check on Instagram if they have a lot of fake followers. I have a ton of followers in India, but real followers. Yeah. But always I get marked as like, oh no, he's got a lot of fake followers because I have a lot of people following me from India. I love India. I always when I go there, there's so many nice people. But I did get mobbed there. Yeah, I think at one point I had like when I was working with Hardwell a lot that period when he was on his top. At one point, I had like 100 people surrounding me taking selfies, and I just had to duck out and just get away from it. It was crazy. Fortunately, it's a lot better nowadays, but it's very. I try not to take it for granted that people come up to me and want to take a photo with me. It's beautiful, right? Yeah, it's very special to me, and it's very worthwhile, and I treasure that, even though it can be a nuisance. I'm taking a photo, but people take an interest in what you do and who you are. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, I always make a point of asking them their name.
That's a good one. Yeah.
If they say, can I have a photo? Yeah, of course you can. What's your name?
That's a good one. Keep that in mind.
Listen, nice. You tell me as soon as you tell me the name, I've forgotten it. I do apologise.
The only problem I have is a lot of people contact me on Instagram and they say, "Oh, I want to take your photo," and then forget the names and stuff like that. And faces and stuff. But just text me on that when you're on the festival or you see me around. That usually works. In India, I'm very easy to spot because I'm tall, wide dude with two cameras.
You've been doing sunburn as well. How long have you been doing sunburn?
For a long time, yeah. And this edition was so good. Oh my God, I had so much fun. I always wonder why they still fly.
But it's been a while. It's been also, that's their first one back since it wasn't, right?
Yeah, I did one. I think they had a smaller one the year before. I'm not sure. Yeah, but it was good being back there. Yeah, I loved it.
Vagator is also gorgeous.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's dusty, but it's beautiful. I think they still have to clean my cameras.
Did they give you? How's your residence there? But the hotels there good for you?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, way better than before. It was perfect.
Because you're also a fan of Indian food as well, weren't you?
I love Indian food. That's my favorite.
Yeah, me
also
too.
Got to be a little bit careful, but I've never had bad luck there. Yeah, for sure.
So, no, I've got to say me.
I get the crazy stomach, crazy Dutch stomach, travel too much, I guess. But
do you have problems with that?
No.
Health is good?
I eat anything, yeah. I keep fit. Yeah, that's also the not drinking. I don't exercise, but I always try to walk like at least an hour and a half. I always really, really try to get my 10,000 steps at least every day. It keeps me fit, keeps my head relaxed. I don't know how it is for you, but I really need to unwind after a festival because my head is just, I can't sleep without reading a book. Even if it's only for 5 minutes. After I've worked the whole day, doesn't matter how tired I am, I need to read for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Otherwise, my head just keeps going. Yeah. I need to unwind, and especially after a festival as well. I need that. But I'm very good at that, I found. I don't work doing flights. So flights for me are downtime.
Window seat only?
Kind of getting away from that. I need the aisle seat nowadays.
How's the mileage, actually?
I'm good.
You're back up on the numbers.
I'm all good. I'm almost done with KLM. So I think 2 more flights and then we'll all done for the rest of my life. So I'm happy. I don't mind flying. I love flying. Flying for me, as I said, is downtime. Catch up with a bit of video. I don't watch TV normally during the week that much, unless it's a movie with the kids.
There's nothing really to watch anyway, is there? Let's be fair.
Occasionally there's something cool, and then I just binge watch it on plane, and that just gets the flight over. It's great. I just read a book, get some nice music, and just chill, just relax. People need to relax a little bit more, I think.
A lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more. especially the young ones, thinking they're on top of the world.
Yeah.
All right then, so got no idea what the time is. I don't really care. I got stoned this morning and I'm very, very happy that you've joined me. So, some on-the-spot questions.
All right, sweet.
My dear friend. Now, actually, I wanted to get onto the image. So, in the exhibition, you said, I love that image with Tice at Intercity.
Yeah.
And, thanks, Tice. And also the one with Coxie.
Yeah, the dark one.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
That is your favorite?
I think it's my best photo.
Yeah.
Because it's... So this is a photo.
Can anyone see that image or not?
Yeah,
it's in this. It's
in the book for sure.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's a very dark image, and you just see a fine line of light that surrounds his face. So it's basically
there's a sweat drip as well, isn't there?
Yeah, he always sweats like amazing. And so the rest of the image is dark, but anybody who's in the music industry knows who that is. And I saw that happening, the light, and. You know, light can go. It's usually repetitive, but if you're at the end of the series, you know, you bad luck. So fortunately, I was halfway in, so I managed to get that shot, and I just love it because I see it, and I envision the shot, and you get the shot, and it's such a powerful image because it's a very unique way of capturing an artist. Because there's basically nothing. There's just this tiny bit of light. It's a silhouette. It's an outline, an inverted silhouette, and just getting it and just. Seeing it like that, it was just... so, I mean, obviously, I got that photo, and I have a very famous photo that I took in 96, 97, with a beautiful light behind him. So also, he's got that in his house, I think. And then the Tice photo is a photo of Tice at Inner City, and he's just holding a record on his finger like that. He used to do that a lot. But apparently, I don't have that many photos of it, and there aren't that many photos of him doing that. And especially him being that...
That's 2000, right?
2003-ish, I think.
No,
it's got to be earlier.
A little bit earlier.
No, it's a digital image. No, it's got to be 2003, 3 or 4.
Yeah. Was it Inner City?
Yeah, 2004, I guess.
I'm guessing
so
2001.
It's probably the end of his record playing because I think everybody was switching to CDs back then, 2004, 5-ish.
I think
maybe
he
combined it.
I think you're right there.
And it's, I just love that image.
Yeah, that is a bad boy image.
So
that will actually be that will be a timeless image because one for the vinyl, two for who it is, and secondly for the time that it was taken.
And it is, and the image is an angle that it's
and the smile on his face.
Yeah, it's got everything, and there's beautiful light in there, so it's a very powerful image. Yeah, I think it's one of my most recognizable images.
But in all the years, and you know, obviously, present day artists, you know, because I know you're very close to Martin Garrix, for instance. On the spot, who's your favourite artist to shoot?
I would say...
And then if you want, who would be...
Okay, let me just... I love Carl Cox, obviously, because he is dark, and it's always dark, so it's a good challenge. And I'm lucky to know him quite well, so they give me a little bit more room than most photographers. So I can always get something unique that most other people have. It's a little bit more difficult for other people. So having something unique is always nice. I love Timmy Trumpet. I love the person. I love his team. I love his antics. So it's a lot of fun. And shooting for Timmy Trumpet is very different because he kind of wants you on stage he wants you in the booth most of the time. So basically when I'm shooting for him, I can do maybe 5 to 10 minutes in the crowd and then he needs me in the booth. So that's cool because that puts you on the spot. That this is what you got to do, and this is where you get it. So, and he's just a lot of fun. He's a fun. I love the guy. I've toured with him.
And he's married now as well, so it's going to be even cooler, I guess.
And I love Annette. She's so nice.
Yeah.
So, personally, I love Robert Hardwell because, especially his new music is amazing, and he always gets the party going. So it's never dull, and. Even though I'm not the biggest, I would never listen to his music in the car. But when you listen it together with 25,000 people, I get goosebumps. I had serious goosebumps last year. I took a photo of it and sent it to him. I was shooting him and he also texted me, I could see you having so much fun. Yes, I was having so much fun because the crowd goes and then get the energy. And for some reason, I always end up with kind of weird artistic photos for him. And yeah, Armin, I've toured with him so much. I love the guy. You know, there's so many artists that I love working with. But I would say those 4.
Sanders took over your spot now.
Yeah, I taught him how to take photos.
Yeah.
Burn my own shoot. Biggest mistake.
No, we don't
ever.
need him anymore.
We don't need him. So that's kind of a pity because I love working with them both. You know, Sander is his tour manager.
But I mean, you must have. You
so
captured.
Good.
You captured him.
Yeah,
I saw, didn't I? He posted a photo of you capturing him.
Yeah, that's what I do nowadays. That's the only thing left for me.
Yeah.
But he's so talented at what he does. You know, the show design and the drone show stuff, and then being a tour manager is always on point. And then he takes photography.
I'm trying to get him down. I'm trying to get him down here as well.
Oh, you should, man. He's so busy though.
Yeah, but exactly.
And he's got some stories to tell, especially with the drone stuff he's doing nowadays. That's amazing. So, Sander, big shout out to you. I hate you for taking my spot. You're doing an amazing job. Before you did use Bart a lot, and I love Bart as well. So, he's got.
But do you still see Rutger Geerling as well?
Yeah,
big Rutger.
I don't see him as much,
right.
Of course, because he's usually in the US. But I always see him at Dimitri Vegas, and then I run into him here and there. Because I work a lot. I've got my own work visa for the US. I'm officially. I have an artist visa. Yeah. I am now officially a person with what they say extraordinary capabilities in the arts.
Like
for me.
So there's a Netflix series. There's a Netflix series.
So I work a lot more in the US nowadays because I just can go in and out as much. I could actually live there, I think, nowadays if I wanted to. I don't want to.
Live there. No. Live there.
I love being there. I just don't want to live there.
Yeah.
Same as Amsterdam.
But you live in Rotterdam, right?
What's that?
You live in Rotterdam.
I live in Rotterdam, yeah. I love Amsterdam. Just don't want to live there.
Yeah.
So I do run into him a lot, and we are renamed buddies. So and I've known him for quite a while, and it's amazing what he does. I have deep respect for what he does, and same with Sander because they work together a lot. And I'm in awe. I love see people having success. You know, it's great, and they work so crazy hard. I don't think I could work that hard. It would affect my family life too much. But I have deep respect for people that I work really hard. But I'm not a workaholic. You know, when I work, I give 100%. There's no medium setting for me. Yeah, if I'm super jet lagged, it might be for a little bit, but as soon as the music picks up, there's no stopping me.
How do you deal with the? Because you're quite well adapted now with traveling. When you what's the secret for you when you come into a country behind or before? How do you work your body clock?
I've flown so much internationally, so I kind of know how jet lags work, and I know how my body works. So I do know when to sleep and when not to sleep. I try to get night flights, especially going back, and I take very light sleeping pills when necessary. So I figured that using a light sleeping pill for 3 nights in a row makes me sleep very well, and that makes me function during the day more, and I get into my setting well. But after that, I don't use them. I'm very strict. It's a 3-day period that I use them, and then it's on my own terms. So I'm very healthy. I eat very healthy. I like to walk every day. I hate running, but we're podcast buddies. So we used to. I always love to listen to podcasts and broaden my mind a little bit and learn a bit. I love science podcasts. So for me, going out every day for an hour and a half is also a good way to cope with the madness during the weekends.
Shake off the cobwebs, as they say.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would answer this, to be fair, but what's your best ever gig to date?
Oh, I think I know that. My first ultra, because that was my first international gig. I've been to Germany, but this is like first time. So what happened is that the guy, Richard, who designs the stages, Richard, I owe you my life, you know that.
He's a Dutchie, right, as well?
He's Dutch.
He's
from Curaçao.
What's his name?
Richard Milstein.
Yeah.
And he figured out who took all the photos for ID&T. He managed to find that out. So I get this email, are you going to be in Miami? That's literally what it said. Some weird email address at Ultra Music Festival. I was like, what? This is crazy, but I checked the web address, so it seemed legit. But it's kind of, it wasn't really practical for me with the holidays, with the kids and everything. So I said, no, I'm not going, and I haven't planned it, but let's keep in touch for next year, see what happens. And then immediately got a reply, will you please reconsider? I said, okay, they're serious. So this is 2012. Like EDM is booming in the US, but they don't have good photographers. So we work it out. But I was also working for National Geographic at that time. We were doing a big piece on the dance music industry. And then, so in my rights, I wanted to have the rights to be able to use the photos in the magazine. So right. So not only was I a very big, famous Dutch photographer to them, I was a National Geographic. So they're blown minds in the US over there in their office. So I'm basically brought in like a messiah. So this guy is going to do everything we need to do.
Work miracles, yeah.
You know the 10,000 hour rule? Like you got to do something for 10,000 hours and then you really master it. And for me, I kind of did the calculation a little bit roughly, and it was kind of that 10,000 hour period for me. So I get thrown into Miami. Spring break, as I said, people are going nuts. It's the explosion of dance music starts to happen, and you got the candy, you know, the crazy American. They're super into it.
It was separate to the music week though then?
Yeah, it's always been separate. Yeah. They're connected, but they're separate.
Yeah.
So I get thrown in that cocktail of madness in the US, and I just, my head just went berserk. I just, that shoot, I was in a because it was also started on Thursday, doing Above and Beyond, who I love. And then, so I was in the zone for 4 days straight. I was just, everybody was just excited for having me there. I was excited being there in such a new setting that I love a new setting because I'm very good at finding the right ways to do something with a new setting. And then I finished after 4 days and I was just like, oh my God, what just happened? So I put up a photo series of 101 photos of my experience in Ultra Music Festival, everything with my name, and they always tagged my name there. And that thing went viral, like completely viral. And that cemented my name. But that weekend I'd never seen anything like it. Because, I mean, you know Holland, everybody's just kind of relaxed, you know, it's like a big, you know, nobody shows off a bit. And the Americans are complete opposite. It's just one big pile of people showing off. And there's so much excitement. And there's excitement that dance music is finally breaking through in the US, you know, the big US, finally. Now we are used to it. But it was unique. David Guetta did that, kind of. And that was definitely my best weekend in my life. I've had many great weekends, but that one stands out for me. Because that weekend changed my life.
Wicked. Yeah, well, you know, it's kind of the same one to the first one. But who's your favourite DJ?
All right, DJ Snake. Again, will not listen.
DJ Snake, yeah,
yeah, will not listen to it in the car. But there is a personality. You know, people have stage presence. Thijs has stage presence. Some people just have it. You know, they come on stage and this buzz happens. And not everybody has that, but he's got this. There's not just an artist coming. There's just this personality comes on stage and everybody's getting rude. And you know that backstage. You know that feeling. And the way he does his sets, it's crazy. I don't like the music at all. But dude, it's so powerful. There's somebody who's larger than life. And he does his breakdowns. Nobody does breakdowns. He does breakdowns. And the way he interacts with people, especially on a good day, there's nobody like that. And the music, that's not even the music that I like. Now, so how's that? No, I think he's by far the best performer out there.
Okay.
But it's not just the music or the person, it's the whole combination.
Yeah. Okay, so that's
yeah.
But who would you listen to in the car?
No, Eric Prydz, of course.
Okay.
Above and Beyond. I just like the more
progressive
melodic techno, trancey.
Yeah.
Old classic Armin, Ferry, Tiesto. But yeah, a lot of melodic techno. I don't like the Charlotte de Witt is a little too steam.
But how do you like the Tale of Us?
Tale of Us. Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's almost trancey. So yeah.
So what's it like to see all these artists coming to your?
Because
nice. you're kind of, you know, I know you're used in lots of roles and sometimes given a freestyle role, but you kind of mostly found on the main stage.
Yeah.
It's fair to say.
Kind of nowadays, yeah. Didn't used to be, but because I know all the artists so well,
yeah.
It makes most festivals just shove me onto the main stage because I know all the artists, I know all the tour managers, so basically they leave me alone, they don't kick me off.
Yeah.
So, and I get usually a little bit better photos because there is a bond of trust between me and the artist and the people surrounding the artist. Yeah, I worked for Eric Prydz. I've been a massive fan of him for over a decade. I worked for him during ADE, and then they asked me again to do a dedicated, because I was working for Ultra, but they had me agree with Ultra that I was going to do their photos for them. That's kind of special.
Cool.
For me, having such an artist that's been important to my life, to my musical life, yeah, that's amazing. But having seen and spoken and worked with so many artists, they're just people. Mm. They're just human.
Most of them are very, 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 very nice.
There's some people that are.
Yeah. So actually, going back to that first on the spot question. So if I shouldn't ask it, but what artist would you shoot? Literally. No, I'm joking.
No comment.
So favorite food was? Are you a curry man, right?
I love any Indian food. That's. I could be a vegetarian in India within a second, no problem there. Love it. Though I do love my butter chicken.
Oh yeah, I do love my butter chicken.
But that's a country that would be the easiest country to be vegetarian.
Yeah,
I love the food there. It's so funny because we were there with the team, and we were going to have dinner afterwards. And they're like, "Are you okay with it being vegetarian?" I said, dude, of course I am. I try to eat vegetarian a lot more nowadays. With the family, that do at least 3-4 days vegetarian during the week. Yeah.
Are you cooking at home? Not cooking at home, but are you growing at home as well? You grow your own at home as well?
Food?
Vegetables?
No
vegetables?
My garden's too small.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Used to do tomatoes though. They work really well.
Double-barreled question. Your favourite holiday place and favourite place to take the family?
I think both the US, strangely enough. Because it is... But the US is so big, so it's kind of unfair. It's basically saying Europe, because there's so much beautiful nature. And it's an easy-to-travel country. I love Asia. I'm in love with it. So hopefully next year we get the kids to Taiwan, when it's still possible. And then, because it's a small island, nice to do in 2 weeks. You spend those air miles, finally. In Europe, I would say Croatia. We've been there a lot of times with the kids. I love the food. I love the water. I love scuba diving there. I love the people. Such a nice place. Not too far away. You could drive it or fly.
How long's the drive to?
I think day and a half max. You could do it in 1 day, but it's a little bit far. You do it with a nice stop.
Yeah,
I would say 16, 17 hours, something like that.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit.
About the same to Barcelona, more or less.
I'd say it's a little bit further.
Okay.
So maybe 17, 18.
Okay. What's your favourite thing to do when you're not working?
I love cooking. That's remnant. I always used to cook, but since Corona, because I had nothing to do, it's like 4 p.m. Let's start with the dinner. I just start everything from scratch, take all my time, spend 2 hours making dinner. So I love cooking. I love reading a lot. I am, but I do find you probably have the same thing. This period of your life when you're busy with work and your kids, you don't have that much time to do the stuff that you want. You're busy with life right now until the kids are out of the house, I guess. So
if they ever leave the house,
yeah, especially nowadays.
But they're welcome to stay, right?
I'd love that, man, for sure. No, I wouldn't mind at all. Yeah. A bit of company is fun. So no real hobbies right now, I would say. I used to love aquariums. You know that? It's kind of weird, right? Aquarium hobby. Loves getting fish, breeding fish and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the wife doesn't want it. So
because
it's a pain in the ass. And plus, once if it breaks, stuff like that, she's worried about
and
that.
the cleaning.
So we got a cat now. We've got a rescue cat since 3 weeks. It's amazing.
Much easier. Yeah. What's the cat's name?
Kevin. The kids, we had a gerbil that was named Noodles, and then my daughter's really good at names, and we called him Kevin. Yeah. And then, but he was super scared. He came from a really bad place, between 2 and 3 years old, like really bad. There was people who were taken out of their house. They didn't see the cat. The cat was stuck on the balcony and they didn't take care. They probably hit the cat, I think. But we got him for 3 weeks now. I spent the first week under the couch.
Oh, bless!
And I think give it another week.
Attack?
No, he's the sweetest cat, just super scared. And needs a little bit of confidence, and I think within a week he'll be on our lap. So he's doing really, really well. Love that. We wanted to have a new cat. We have had cats for a long time, then we didn't have a cat for 3 years. And then but it had to be a rescue. Okay. But they were a little bit worried because this cat had such a bad background. And we have kids, but my kids are very good with the cats.
Yeah, nice.
So they did, the asylum called them and they said, I still want to let's give it a try. And it's working beautifully.
Magic.
It's kind of nice that you have to put an effort in the cat for you to get accustomed to you. It's also good teaching for the kids.
Well,
things are not immediate, you know. You got to put an effort in.
I've got a dog and 3 cats now.
Oh God,
our Cookie, she ended up, having one of those strayful nights that young ladies have. And then it turns out she was pregnant, and we had two cats. And the idea was we was going to give them away, but it's a boy and a girl. And of course, my wife Esther she can't have it. Personally, she'd love to have a farm. To be fair, do you know what I mean? She'd love to have all of that. So, so keep the 3 cat. And it's a special energy in the house.
Just keep clean. That's the only thing.
Just as long as you keep feeding them.
Yeah.
And they'll let you know if they need cuddles as well, which is nice. Yeah. So you're going to be an old soppy soon enough. Where's a place that you haven't visited yet that you really want to?
All right, travel-wise, I'd love to go to Antarctica, but I think it's environmentally not sustainable, so I shouldn't do it. So even if I do get the opportunity, I'm not sure if I would. Burning Man would have been one of those places, but it's the worst time of the year for me to visit there, so that's a no-go. I would love to go back to South America again. Chile, Peru, so much fun. People are so crazy up there. I miss that place. So hopefully later this year, or maybe next year. A place that I haven't visited. Dude, I've visited a lot of places. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. You've been to Jamaica?
No. That kind of doesn't appeal me for some reason. Even though I've seen a lot
I'm
of
just
Caribbean.
saying as an example.
Yeah, that's very few islands.
Jamaica, you need to see, mate.
A lot of Caribbean islands.
Jamaica, you need to see.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I hear it's a bit rough for travel, though. It's not easy.
I don't know.
Don't
believe everything
maybe you're right.
Don't believe everything you hear.
I would say the southern part of South America, so the southern part of Argentina. I think I'd love to
go visit the Falkland Islands, mate. You can have a nice fry up.
No, but Patagonia, I would say I've seen photos of that place. I think, and then maybe the northernmost part of Norway. Let me just keep it at and Iceland. I'm going there with a very famous Albert Ros. He's one of the best landscape photographers in Holland. He's got like 600,000 followers on Instagram. And we're going to do it this year. Go for 3 days to Iceland. It's going to show me around. Nowadays landscape photography is advanced.
I'm guessing you won't leave your cameras at home then.
No, it's going to be a photo trip. It's going to be a nerd trip.
Yeah.
So that's in the planning. I've never been there for some reason. And I've done a lot of travel photography. I've been a travel journalist for 15, 20 years. I still do it occasionally, but I just don't have the time. I'm always travel enough already.
So Northern Lights is like it's on that to-do list.
I've seen Northern Lights quite a few times. So
okay,
I've been very lucky. I've seen it twice. I've seen it in an airplane.
Okay.
On my way to Japan in the wintertime, flying for a snowboard trip, and then I've had it during the flight. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen. Never managed to get a good photo of it though.
Shame on you. Yeah, shame on you.
Boo.
Yeah, boo. What are you listening to in the car right now?
Podcast usually, because that I am very bored driving very quickly. Podcasts give me life. So Skeptic's Guide to the Universe is my favorite science podcast, and they have an amazing story about the AI thing. The Google guy, they had an interview with him. The Google guy said it was sentient, and this amazing discussion that just kind of went by because it was just too difficult. But it was very interesting, very scary and comforting at the same time. Very conflicted about that whole. I think it's going to change our lives dramatically.
Mate, go and watch Terminator again.
Yeah,
please,
yeah.
Everybody, go and watch Terminator again.
It's a documentary.
No, The Matrix is a documentary. The Matrix is a documentary.
But it was very interesting. I'm very curious to see. It's affecting some types of photography. The stock photography that advertising agencies use, like certain random images or very basic images. That's all digital nowadays. I think that stock photography is gone. So fortunately, a piece of photography it captures a moment. So it's still so interesting to hire people for that. But yeah, it's going to be dramatic, I think. Also very interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. Let's talk about that in 10 years.
Well, if we're still here. If we're still here. Well, actually, that leads on right onto the nice one. How do you see the future?
I don't see it. That's kind of funny. Okay. The thing is that I've tried to multiple times. I've tried to see what I'm going to do in the next 10 years. I've always been blatantly 100% wrong. That's why you don't ask investment advice from me, because I'm often wrong.
Crypto.
No. I'm way too conservative, so it's always good. I don't fall into the trap, so it's good. I never lose money because I never invest. For me, what's important, as long as my work gives me more energy than it costs me, I'm still doing good. So that is there are some festivals that kind of cost me more energy than they deliver to me. So maybe I should do something else. That's why I'm just slowly trying to see if I can do something different to tour with an artist. So as long as that's the case, I can do this work. I just love it. I still love my job. And that's what COVID taught me. Because I had my father-in-law's fantastic. He's always he always goes against you, but on a purpose. He's always trying to figure you out. He's just teasing you. Yeah, but you're too old for that. Nah, you should look for a proper job. Not because he thinks so, but he wants you to argue why you're still doing what you do, which is great. You don't have that many people in your life, who say the complete opposite, just to test you, see if you're really into it. And what COVID taught me is I'm not done yet. I still have too much to do.
Yeah. But you should listen to other people when they are the opposite to you.
What's that?
You should listen to more people who are the opposite to you.
Yeah, of course.
Hello.
No, but I love listening to you. I might not agree with you.
No, but that's, let's be fair, because me and you could talk for days. But you still don't believe you've been lied to?
No.
Okay.
No, I think we did a lot of things wrong. We did a lot of things right. I think we got away very easily with COVID. I think it could have been way worse. And, yeah, for sure. I think COVID wasn't that deadly. It killed a lot of people, but as a virus goes, it could have gone wrong. And that's no other discussion, but we should be aware of that.
We've avoided that.
No, but I think we should be very aware. Did we do stuff that we should have done? Yes, in both regards to policies and both in regards to not following policies. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but
in hindsight, it's always easy.
No.
You were different. Yeah, but I disagree with a lot of things you said. But I've always been
I will still be proved right, though. You watch. But in saying that, okay, you've been given the keys to the universe.
Oh.
Right?
And
it's that time to say, right, here's your chance. How do you make that place a better place?
Let's listen to each other a little bit. Just not be convinced of our rights, being right, and just have a little bit more respect. And that goes on both sides. I was following a discussion about wokeness and being left and right are too extreme. Let's just relax a little bit. You only live life once, and just make something of it, And going around shouting and being angry at everybody, that's not the way to go in life. Even if you disagree with somebody, then disagree. You're not married to your political ideas. You're not
married to your ideas. Let's be fair.
Exactly. So let's sometimes take a step back. That's fine. We'll be fine.
There you go.
Kids will be all right too.
The kids will always be all right. Especially if they're parents like me and you, mate.
Exactly.
Rutger Geerling, my man.
Thank you very much. Thank you for
indeed.
having me. I really look forward to this one, and it's been a good one.
Like I said, it was nice to get you in before the double figures. Right? Yeah. Don't forget, the book is always available.
Merrygowild.com.
Merrygowild.com
or ourhouse.com, both of them. They still have it.
And of course, Rutger.com. You've got all your archives are on the Flickr now.
No, it's still on Rutger.com. You can follow it.
Yeah. And big shout to Mad for the Fam. Don't forget the discount code. The discount code is in the description. And as always, please listen, like, share, and of course, subscribe if you do those kind of things. This is the Production House Podcast. See you, bye.
Cheers.